Mhm. So it's almost like if, yeah, if she follows some rules, then that's okay. Because, okay, see if you can feel into
Hmm.
that. Yeah, it's like if I can follow some rules, that's good.
Yeah.
Because then what?
Um, I want to say because then I'll be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but more so, I'll be perceived as doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I'll be perceived. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be good. I'll
And I'm
be,
reminded of my high school years where the outside me rules, like, get good grades, participate in sports, do band, blah, 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 blah. I followed those rules and I had the perception that I was following the rules. But on the side, I smoked dope, I drank. At nights, I would roll joints out of an ounce, and then the next day sell them on the railroad tracks out of my calculator case. You probably remember those.
okay. Mhm.
So it reminds me of perception of following the rules, but yet then I'm doing all this out of bounds stuff that nobody sees. So it's almost like I'm following the rules. It's like the screen that goes up. Look over here.
Mhm.
Huh.
And so it gets you the, it's almost like the veneer, is that it? Like the veneer of a rule following person, or it gets you the
I
perception
guess.
of a rule following person. Someone's going to perceive you as the rule following person.
Yeah, and almost like, yep, yep. But also, as you were saying that, it's like it would also show up to a part of me. I would also, for some reason, I perceive that too. As long as I'm following these rules and you're following the rules and you're good, which doesn't make logical sense, but to me,
So long as you're following these rules, you're good.
yeah. So I'm not only doing it for someone else's perception, but there's also a part of me that wants to check that off the list. Okay, good. You're following these rules. Good. Yeah. And so what surprises me is that there's a part of me that I'm doing this perception for,
Yep.
which
Yes.
is surprising because I should be able to see through that, right? Because it is me. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I wonder if it would help to find what that part is interested in or what it's trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because you said being perceived as the rule following person gets you a kind of status of being good.
Yeah.
Okay. Who gives you that status? See if you can just feel into that and see where you would get that status from, being good, where it would come from.
Well, this is old stuff. What comes up for me is those high school years I talked about. So it would be um, basically getting kudos from the adults in my life. And then they talk amongst themselves and, oh, isn't she doing great? Yeah, she's just doing great in my class. Oh, she's doing great on the team, that sort of thing. And my
Good.
mom's in there too, my dad, a
Yeah,
little bit my dad.
good. So it gets this kind of kudos, like praise from the adults.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the only thing that's only how I got praise or acknowledgement or
I see.
so that was I was like the white knight in the family. I kind of yeah.
Yeah. So that was the sole means of getting praise and acknowledgement.
Yes, pretty
Okay.
much grades and participation trophies,
Hmm.
that sort of thing.
Yes. Following those rules was a means to get that praise. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
just it wasn't just the means, but it was the only means.
Yeah, it was the only means. And also not only praise, but as you were saying that, a sense of belonging too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Even like with belonging on a team or a band or something like that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't, something so obvious, but I hadn't really realized what those sports teams and the music that I was involved in really gave me a strong sense of belonging. And that was really helpful for me then. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and that sounds like a powerful way to get a sense of belonging and praise during those formative years. Kind of a sense of affirmation for our skills and so on and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm hearing is it sounds like would have been a really a powerful, like a poignant type of experience that is our only source of praise. How does that feel to you that was your only source of praise? Following the rules was your sole source of praise.
Well, adult me feels sorry for her. From her perspective, I feel angry that that's my only source. That
Yeah.
this is the only thing I get to do. And I'm proud of her for figuring it out and being able to pull it off and recognizing it was a coping mechanism that we don't need anymore.
Yeah, good. You said anger, like angry that this was your only source.
Yeah, that came up.
And what would the anger say? Would it be directed toward anybody?
I guess mostly at my parents, my mom mostly. My parents, because it's their responsibility to cover this topic, so to speak. So it looks like this is what they taught, and this is what is the only access I get to them. So I'm mad that there's not other access, and I'm angry that this is what they taught. Yeah, and all of this is new to me, so this is interesting.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, and it's interesting with the acupuncturist with the gallbladder liver channel imbalance or whatever it is. The liver is connected with the emotion of anger, or gallbladder eaters, one of them. Anyways, she said, basically, go work on your anger. You have anger issues, which I'm like, no, I don't, because I don't get angry, which of course is my anger issue, right? So as we talk about this and I say, I'm angry, it's interesting. And I just want to bring that tie in with the acupuncturist, with the anger thing. Because anger doesn't really come up often. I don't recognize it often. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an important emotion to be in touch with. You could look at all of our emotions as kind of, these signals that form a color palette.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know I'm preaching to the choir. So yeah. So anger at parents, because your mom mostly, because it was really on them to help you feel accepted.
Yeah.
And affirmed.
Yeah.
Not
and
just
teach me all those things and model it for me.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
Good. Yeah. What would feel good to you in terms of what your parents could have modeled? Or perhaps, what any parent
Yeah.
should model towards their child.
Yeah. So listening, listening well, Um, and I'm thinking beyond like, oh, hug and kiss and inquiry about your day. I'm thinking beyond that. In the sense of, like, I think a parent's hug should feel safe, comforting to the kid. Also empowering. And the kid should be able to see, you know, healthy relationships and romantic relationships and what that looks like and the ebbs and flows of that, which would be reflected in the, you know, husband-wife thing. My parents slept in separate rooms. They didn't touch. I mean, we didn't touch in my family. We hugged robotly, like when we would depart for, like when I would go off to college, right? Oh, have a good one, right? Like that. And then that'd be it. Yeah, I could go on and on probably.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's maybe like an intergenerational imprint there too. Yeah, because presumably your parents learned that from their parents.
Yeah,
and on back it goes.
probably.
Yeah. Can you, how does it feel like as a textural sensation in your body, to have had only that specific channel for praise, you know, getting good grades, accomplishments, being the white knight, having just that channel, but not the hug channel, the affirmation channel, more spontaneous, the physical touch channel?
It actually makes me feel a little panicky.
Okay. I'm going to invite you just to be with that sense of panic and allow it to, just allow it to move through you. If there's anything that the panic wants to say, just allow it to have a voice.
Yeah, it says, I'm so, you're so ill-equipped. You're not equipped. You're not prepared.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like, that's what it's saying to your parents. Like you're not equipped or prepared.
Oh, it's saying it to me.
Oh, it's saying it to you. Wait,
Yeah.
how? Tell me how.
So you said, how does it feel to know that this was only this one avenue? And it feels like I felt like the texture was like internal energy being stirred up, a little anxious. And then it was like, oh man, I think it's like getting itself worked up and saying, we're not prepared. We're ill prepared. We're out of balance. We're not going to be able to do it. And panic is speaking on the behalf of we, as in me in my variety of identities.
We're not going to be able. Yeah.
We're not.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
When there's a sense of panic, we're not prepared to do what?
To connect. To connect. I want to say deeply, but even just to connect with others besides my family and these adults. Like, how am I going to have meaningful connections if I don't know how to make meaningful connections? That's it right there. My parents didn't teach me how to do that. I can't like get an A and show it to the stranger. She's not going to care.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So would it be okay? So first off, I just want to explore one thing, and then we'll maybe go on to some kind of, you know, experiential practices that maybe can help build this sense of connection. Would it be okay? Like, does it violate? Let me just start broadly. Is it okay to move in the direction of this deeper sense of connection?
Yes.
Okay.
And to say that that teenager is hesitant and skeptical, but she's kind of outvoted. So we're going to go for it.
Okay.
And we'll work with her.
Is it just skepticism, or is it like, okay, this is breaking some other rule?
Um, well, it's not just skepticism. It's bigger than that. It's as almost she doesn't have a concept of it being absent of the rules. So she doesn't. So what does that look like? What does that mean? She doesn't have a concept. So the only reality, the only place she can hold on to is the rules.
Yes. Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
That makes total sense.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep. Because it's almost like the rules were the means of getting of attachment, basically, in your family system. The rules were the means by which to receive praise or affection, love. Yeah, the rules were the means by which you did that. And so the rules were the means by which you could stay in the same shared emotional reality with your family. And it sounds like there's a hunger for a different way of connecting or relating. And that part of you, since this part never learned, she's just like, well, what does that even look like? Right.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I've realized that I'm hungry for this now, but it's a goose egg. Don't know what this looks like.
Right.
Does that describe it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to invite you to just stay in touch with this part. Would you be open to doing some relational work, like realization process style?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you're giggling. What does
Yeah,
that
let's
mean?
go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. All right.
It's always an adventure with you, Michael. So that's what I'm smiling at. Okay, what's this adventure going to be like?
Okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate
good.
your enthusiasm. So let's go ahead. I'm going to invite you to just come into the internal space of your body. Good. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to find or feel the core of your being. Really opening your feeling sense in the core of your body so that you can really feel the subjectivity of your whole body, the subjectivity or consciousness of your cells and of the life field that pervades your body. How is that so far?
Good.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Trippy.
Trippy. What's trippy about it?
It's just a different way of being for me to be in touch with all of this.
Yeah, then that makes sense that it would feel trippy in that way.
Yeah. It's okay. It's good.
Good. I'm going to invite you to find your heart center. Opening your feeling sense in the core of the chest. Good. And can you attune to your quality of love in your chest? Just, a sense of warmth, acceptance. Yeah. Just finding that kind of bubbling out of the wellspring of the heart center.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. So from there, I'm going to invite you to feel without coming out of your body, staying present through your whole body and your core. Find my heart center at the same time. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not projecting energy or anything like that. It's just kind of mutual. It's like a subtle sensory witnessing in attunement. Yeah. Okay, I can feel you connecting.
Okay. I haven't done this before with
But
an
you haven't.
acknowledgement from the other person.
Can you feel me?
Yeah,
How is that so far?
good. Supportive. Solid.
Oh, good. Let's
Safe.
just, good, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So how does it feel to be in this space
Hmm.
to your younger part?
Trippy. Again. Like, she's like, whoa, this actually exists?
Hmm. Okay.
She's kind of in awe, like, wow, that's
Okay.
pretty neat.
Good. Yeah. Just continue to allow her to take this in, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All we're doing is holding both experiences and awareness at the same time. This younger part has this knowing of how things like affection
Mm.
or caring or love or attunement were doled out in the family. And then right now there's no need to be or do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there.
Mm. And what's coming up for me is a few people in my life growing up during that time that I could just be me and I was accepted so that I perhaps was experiencing something like this. So my older neighbor across the way, who's like a grandmother to me, and then my like best friend during that time. It was never about accomplishments or whatever. It was just, yeah, hanging or being me kind of thing. Trip.
Mm-hmm.
So there were times in my life where I was loved and appreciated and accepted outside of those rules criteria. So that feels good that it wasn't totally void.
Yeah, beautiful. How does it feel to remember those experiences? I mean, from the vantage point of this part, that feels like it always has to follow, that it has to follow rules to get acceptance, to get affirmation.
Um, it's beginning to get a little confused in the sense of like, oh, wow, that's right, that these connections did happen outside those rules.
Yeah.
But yet I
Oh,
thought it couldn't outside the rules. So it's beginning to get confused.
mhm. Yeah. Let this part can just continue to marinate in this experience without trying to make anything happen. We're just allowing this part to receive this experience, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay, so in this moment, this is what I was talking about before, about being able to sit in the pleasure, or sit in the joy or whatever,
Mhm.
without being pulled out. So as you say that, I'm feeling that situation. I'm not quite sure how to describe it.
Like being pulled on to, oh, gotta do something now.
Like, oh no, we can't just sit in this heart connection along with that. That's too enjoyable. That's too nice.
Good. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Good. Yep. Good. Too enjoyable and too nice. How? Like, because it sounds like there's another part to that notion that it's too
Yeah,
enjoyable and too nice.
because it might heal us, because it might give us a direction.
Which would do what?
Huh. Which would explode my world, the rule follower world, which would explode my world because you wouldn't need me anymore. And I don't think I can let that happen. Or I shouldn't let that happen, is what the rule followers is saying.
Give me just 1 second with that.
Yeah.
It's too enjoyable. It's too nice. It would heal and give direction. It would also leave there would be no more job position for the rule follower. Okay. It would explode the rule follower world. Yeah.
And there's something about
Yeah.
that, you can't let me not have a position, because as an adult, you need me. You need to follow rules. You know that. And I help you do that. At
Is
least she
it
thinks that. She thinks that.
is it good enough? Is it sufficient to be able to follow rules such as, paying taxes and that sort of thing?
Sufficient, or is there, what do you mean?
No, meaning that it sounds like this part is saying, there's some part of you that's saying like, okay, well, now this is not going to feel good because I don't have a place anymore. And so I'm kind of feeling around here for what that means. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we have rules in our lives, like, paying our taxes on time and whatever else. Is that sufficient? Is that going to do it for this part, or does she need something else? Because that's important.
Oh, I see. She feels like she needs to keep me hidden. Like the rules have to make sure I don't stand out. Don't draw attention. Blend in. That's her job.
Ah, I see. Because what happens if you don't blend in?
Well, then you stand out. And
Which
that's not
means,
good in the family.
yeah.
That's for sure. And in generally what I learned in life, you have a better way of better odds of surviving if you just blend in and status quo. Because if you stand out, you'll be targeted.
Okay.
And I don't have the skills to withstand the targeting. Huh. This is her perspective, though.
I get that. Yep. Better odds of surviving if you blend in. And how do you know that that's true? Like, where's that notion coming from, that if you blend in, you're gonna have better odds of surviving?
The notion came from my growing up, my early emotional learnings, my early learnings. Not
Yeah.
only as a teenager, but way younger. That was the message. kind of the thing of don't be seen. Children are what, seen and not heard.
Children are, yep, children are seen and not heard.
Yeah. And so if I broke that rule, oh, this is interesting words. So if I broke that rule, I mean, I learned that lesson early on, right? I probably learned that when I was crying in my crib.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Children are seen and not heard. And if you broke that rule, then what would happen?
Consequences. So, I mean, it depends upon the infraction and the mood my mother's in. So, it could just be restriction, yelled at, hit, given chores, humiliated in public.
Oh, wow. So a lot.
Yeah. It was not good stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. Let's just take a minute. I'm going to invite you to go back into the internal space of your body.
Yeah. Wow. There's so much linked to this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Good.
As I was talking to you, I could, now that I'm in my body, I feel calm and I feel safe and cocoon kind of. I'm noticing that when we were talking about the rule person, in contrast to that, the energy was whipped and frantic
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
kind of energy. And now that I'm here, I can notice the difference. So that's interesting too.
Oh, good. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I'm curious if, okay, give me just 1 second here. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of danger. If I break the rule that children are to be seen and not heard, there's danger behind that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it feels existential.
Wow. Okay. Yep. That's really important. It's existential. I'm going to invite you to come into, just to allow yourself to rest all the way down to your pelvic floor and through your legs. Really tuning into your sense of physical presence and foundation through the base of your torso and through your pelvis.
Yep.
Good. Okay. And once again, I'm going to invite you to just come into your heart center. And from where you are, I'm going to invite you to find my heart center at the same time. Okay. How does that feel?
Good.
Okay. So let's just go slowly here. Okay. I'm going to invite you to bring that part into awareness at the same time. And just gently ask something like, is there any danger that's actually present right now?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Are we in danger now of being hit or
Not right
being
now.
yelled at? Okay. How does that land?
It lands good, and for her it's unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm. Is that okay?
He thinks it's okay for now.
Okay.
She'll give you some room.
So what? I'm sorry.
She'll give you some room. She trusts you.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, I appreciate that feedback that I feel that I or this space feels safe enough.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to invite you to tune into the space that pervades both of us. And see if you can feel that there's a safety and a warmth, a kind of accepting presence in that space. It's a space that pervades our body and environment, that space of fundamental consciousness.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have access to this from within your own body?
Amazing.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful.
Powerful.
And does it feel like just, making sure that we're bringing this part along? Does it feel to this part that being here, being in tune with this space is going to lead to being yelled at or hit or, any danger?
Not at this time, no. And it feels like, though, that the image I have in my head is that if fundamental consciousness was a color, it'd be colored in except around her. It's just black and white around her, like she's not, like it's not like she's not included or something.
She's not included. Okay, got it. Mm-hmm.
So it's colored around her, but she is not included in that coloring.
Yeah. So, and it's important to just feel into what about her is still saying no, or I'm not sure, or has hesitancy. And one thing, well, go ahead. I don't want to ask too many questions at once here. Go ahead.
Maybe something like that's too nice. That feels good. That's not a match. That's not my area.
Not my area. How?
It's nice and good. I follow the rules, and generally we don't want to follow the rules, and we want to do something different. So it's not fun, but we do it under threat of danger. So that's not nice or good. But that's my role, and that's what I'll do. Almost to say, like, if there's anything nice or good, that's not my area. I'm not linked to that.
Mm-hmm. In order to be attuned to danger, do we need to be sensitive?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like this experience of fundamental consciousness is making you more sensitive or less sensitive?
More sensitive.
How does that land?
Good. It's good to be more sensitive, and as far as danger goes, it's good to have more sensitivity towards that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rule follower. Like, okay, that serves me. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to invite that part of you that we're calling the rule follower to really, like, as we could say that this lives in a more elemental aspect of our mind, right? This kind of feeling mind that pervades the body. The part of us that is looking to get pleasure and avoid pain.
Huh.
Right. I'm going to really invite that part of you to open her eyes so that she can look and feel in the room to see if there's any danger that she needs to be uptight about right now.
Definitely not. And it's almost like something shifted in her. She feels she feels connected to this. So she's colored in. She feels relief and almost like teary with comfort.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful.
something definitely shifted there.
Yeah, just take a minute to marinate in that.
She's shrinking now.
Is that okay?
Yeah. I didn't realize how big she was before.
Right.
Looming over my teenage years.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times these ego states can feel larger than life, and that's why they feel overwhelming.
Mm.
Or they feel like, yeah, they're anyway. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just yeah. How does it feel to just marinate here?
It feels good, and it feels it feels good. But at this point, I would have been pulled out of it, and I'm noticing that I'm still a little bit like, oh, but I'm able to marinate in it. I've had a hard time marinating, but this is different.
Yeah. How does that feel to you? That it's like, before there, it sounds like there were two prongs to this, if you will. One was that I can only get affection through following the rules, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
other, and so the pleasure through following the rules, and so the heaven if you do, the hell if you don't. Children are to be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
And so now, how is it feeling to you that there's an experience where you don't need to do anything in order to get love, in order to feel supported and accepted, even by the ground of your being, beyond, I mean, by me certainly, and the space of
Right.
the room, and also the ground of your being,
Right.
and also for this part to look and feel into this space, and to feel that there's safety and no danger.
Mm-hmm. It feels good, and there's like cognitive dissonance for her. So it's like, no, I thought it was rules were the only way. But clearly it's not, because I'm feeling it now.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Clearly it's not, because I have a physical feeling of it now. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So she's in that mind-blowing phase.
Right.
It's trying to snap into coherence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Is it okay to be a little surprised by something? Because it sounds like that's the emotion or experience that's happening. It's like, oh wow, like mind blown. It's like a surprise or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe
She was going.
maybe I
Go
should
ahead.
define what you're feeling. What does that feel like to you? Is it surprise, or is it something else? You say mind blown.
Yeah, it's totally surprise.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you asked the question, she was arguing with herself. Well, is it a good surprise or a bad surprise? I mean, we have to, right? And so she was like arguing that. That's why I hesitated. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Yeah, this is a good one. But what if it was a bad one? So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is it a bad one?
It's not a bad one.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does that land, to have a good surprise? Right.
It lands good because I can feel it. And it's in total contradiction to what I thought.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
That that to me signals that there's, I mean, in addition to many other
Right.
things that you've been saying, but that there's an important shift happening.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, just take as long as you need to enjoy that.
And it feels like there's an ability for me to let go of that because I can feel it now. And it's like the state of what it is now. And we don't necessarily need to worry about the past. We could save that for another time because she's confused. She's like, well, should I have done it this way then? Or was I wrong then? Did I not do it right then? So she's kind of wrapped in that. But like adult me is like, no, we'll worry about that later. Right now, let's come into the present.
Yeah.
And feel what it is right now.
Right. Is it, so since we all have time machine deficiency syndrome, is it okay to say, like that we did our best back then, and to just extend yourself some grace that we did the best we could back then?
Yeah. And I think I'm okay with that. We'll sit with her. Like I've done in therapy where I brought up parts of myself. And then when when an issue comes up, we kind of like, we make a promise to that part that we'll revisit it later and we'll work on this.
Okay. Yes.
And I'm just going to put this here for now and I'll check back with you tonight or something like that. So that's what I'm going to do with her. We're good with that, but we need to kind of talk with her and sit with her and give her the time that she needs to do whatever she's doing.
No, I'm totally with you there. And I wasn't suggesting that you try to override that part or anything like that. And because sometimes when something like this, when we have a big shift, we can also feel sadness and other things that come up sometimes.
Right.
Grief or that sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah, all that is important too. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess I just said that stuff before because I have a sense that she's going to be okay, the little one or the rule follower, in terms of how she performed back then. Yeah. She feels relief. There's just a relief.
Oh, good.
A letting go, like, yeah. Space, like more space. Wow. Yeah. I'm just noticing the time.
Yeah, we're about at our hour here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm really glad to hear that you feel some profound relief.
Yeah. Totally.